I'm delighted to say we've been joined now by Rob Key. Good evening to you, Rob. Very nice man, obviously a decent coach, but out of his depth. Is that fair?
Yeah, and probably not through his own doing, really. He was just given an impossible task in what he did. I mean, what sort of sums it up how wrong that decision was to make him in charge of everything, all formats, all of English cricket, really, in terms of coaching all the teams, the men's teams, is that we will probably, in this new era you talk about, we will probably go for a split coaching setup. So we'll have a coach, one coach of white ball cricket, another coach of test match cricket, and we'll probably have some form of selection panel back. So that's the complete opposite, really, of what Chris Silverwood was asked to do. And for that, I mean, he got given more power than pretty much any English coach in my time. I know Ray Illingworth, I think, back a long time ago, had a lot of power. And that with what the cricket that they had in that year, in that last year with COVID, all of that, that was the decision that has cost both Giles and Silverwood so far.
Rob, combining the red ball and white ball is one thing, but is ultimately what cost him his job combining the role of head coach with national selector?
Yeah, that was. I mean, what's cost him really is the fact that England haven't won, and their test team in particular is looking like it is not performing to its potential. I think Mark Ramprakash said it, I don't think people complain when you feel that England are competing and they're going on an upward curve, but actually this team has been doing the opposite. And I'm convinced that people like Ollie Pope, some of these young batsmen, some of these players are better than what we've seen over the last year. And at times you have to look at coaches and the setup of why that's not happening, why these players haven't been performing to what they can do. I think there's some good players in there, and hopefully a change of people at the top will turn those fortunes around.
You say change of people at the top, and there will be a lot of people thinking, Ashley Giles went last night, Chris Silverwood's gone tonight. How is Tom Harrison still hanging on?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, to be honest, because I'm not entirely sure on what Tom Harrison has to do with the actual performance of the England cricket team. That is what I thought Ashley Giles' job was for, and then he reports in to Tom Harrison, who does the business side as much as anything else of English cricket. And the playing performance, Tom Harrison isn't in that dressing room. Tom Harrison isn't the man in there telling them how they should play, what they should do at the toss at Brisbane, what team they should pick, all those types of things. Those are cricketing decisions that have been made. Tom Harrison didn't tell Ashley Giles to get rid of the selectors and just make Chris Silverwood in charge. I doubt Tom Harrison actually told Ashley Giles to make Chris Silverwood the head coach in the first place, when Joe Root probably needed someone else with more experience to help him make those decisions along the way. So I don't see how that is under Tom Harrison's remit. His job is basically to employ Ashley Giles and make sure he's got the right man to make those decisions.
Rob, you say what Joe Root needs then is a man with experience that he can sort of learn from and have a great relationship with. Who is the ideal candidate, do you think? Who is the man that should take over the reins now?
Well, that's a tough question, because who the ideal person is probably people who don't want to do the job for love nor money. People like Ricky Ponting, you talk about international experience, the class that he is, how someone like Joe Root would be able to feed off him, but he's not going to do the job. Then you've got Stephen Fleming, who's the coach of the Chennai Super Kings, who would be fantastic, captained this country for years and was a brilliant captain as well, has been a brilliant coach. But again, he's not going to want to do it. We said on the Sky Cricket vodcast a while ago, someone like Mahela Jayawardene would be perfect if you're looking for someone overseas. If you're looking for someone from England, the name that's been mentioned is someone like Alex Stewart, but I think Alex Stewart would probably only want to do it in the interim. And if he did, I think he would be good with that, because what this team needs is someone really who, when they want to come up with selections, when they want to come up with decisions at the toss, decisions for teams, whatever else it is, the way we want to play our cricket, the mentality of the team, someone like Alex Stewart would be perfect for that, because he was a very good player, obviously, which isn't everything, but he's got that experience. He's got that now. So he understands as well, which I think is a big, big thing in this day and age. You've got to understand the pressure of the media. People, it's not so much they probably don't take much interest in what I have to say. But when you have the likes of ex-England captains, Vaughan, Hussein, Atherton, all these guys, when they start criticising you, you've got to be pretty tough to be able to take that and stick to your goals. That is what Owen Morgan has done so well, where he has not really cared what anyone's thought about him or what they've said about him when they're playing too many shots. He's gone, no, this is the way we're going to do it, and I'm going to back my team to do that. Chris Silverwood arguably would have been fine with a captain like Owen Morgan. You don't need much from the coach if you've got Owen Morgan as a captain. Unfortunately, it's not the same if you've got Joe Root and this test team.
Gary Kirsten was a man who was almost touting for the job in the middle of the Ashes while Chris Silverwood was still in the job, and he's been spoken about in the past when the England job's been available as well. Would he be a decent candidate?
Yeah, I think he probably would. Well, because he's obviously a decent player, but he's got a lot of international cricket experience, so he's used to that scrutiny. And he coached India to #1 in the world, again, arguably with MS Dhoni. And what you have to work out with these people at times is who was the real driver under that success that India had? Was it MS Dhoni or was it Gary Kirsten? Did Gary Kirsten just facilitate MS Dhoni and everything that was great about MS Dhoni and all the decisions that Dhoni made? And that's what you have to find out. But yeah, I mean, there's a list of people that you could do it. It's just a question of who wants to do it as well is the problem. And it would be nice. We need to have a look at our coaching setup in this country, because we've had 3 English coaches who have had a go at this job, and each time it hasn't worked out well. And 2 of those times was by the same person in Peter Moore. So It's got to be good coaches in England. We just need to make sure we're doing it right by them.
And just finally, Rob, I think I know the answer to this one because you've touched upon it several times already, but there's clearly no doubt in your mind that Joe Root should continue as captain. Should he continue as captain because he is the right man for the job, or because there are no other viable alternatives?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. I'm not absolutely dead set on the fact that Joe Root should be captain, actually. But I certainly think at the moment in the West Indies, I think when all this happens, because I expect there might be a few more people to go from this setup, and it is going to be this new regime, as it were. But I think you need to take some time out for that. I think Andrew Strauss is absolutely right at the moment. Just take a breath, get someone in for this West Indies trip, whoever that is. I mean, there's Paul Collingwood, there's Marcus Trescothick is a fantastic bloke, and I think an excellent batting coach, albeit very early days in his career as a coach. Just take a breath and have a think about these things, because it's not obvious who would captain if Root didn't do it. But you've got a bit of time before the summer starts for England's Test campaign. So whoever the new coach full-time is going to be, whoever the captain's going to be, whether that's Root or someone else, just give yourself a bit of time to work out who it should be and get the right man.